What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we are gonna have some fun with a Hyper Beam Obstagoon. Yeah, I decided to try that out today, and if I'm being honest, guys, I'm gonna tell you guys right away, I did 4 sets with this team and broke even across the board, 10 and 10. So this was definitely not my best team that I've built yet. And we're gonna talk more about the team and why it didn't work out as well. I'm sure a lot of you guys will know right away some of the counters to this team, which I did run into today, but that did not stop me from landing hyper beams, which is what this team was about to just have a lot of fun. So be sure to stick around till after the battles, and we're going to deep dive into some of the choices that I made in some specific battles, and we're also going to talk about the team and why this may not be a good team, and maybe that's a common thing that's happening around and the adjustment that we could make to make this a better team. Okay, getting into the first battle here. So these battles were a lot of fun. Like I said, it wasn't the best win record that I've had. This is the first time I've kind of broke even. But we have Obstagoon versus Heracross on the lead. Terrible, terrible matchup. Have to get out of there right away. That dark normal typing is double weak to fighting. Now we see an Alolan Muck come into our Drifblim, which is actually okay for us for 2 reasons. First, we can hit with neutral damage with Icy Wind and lower the attack here of the Alolan Muck. And second, we can softly lose this matchup and come in and farm energy with the Obstagoon. So Dark Pulse now coming through to super effective damage to our Drifblim. We're going to be able to get off another Icy Wind right here, again doing neutral damage, lowering the attack of the Alolan Muck, which is exactly what we want. Now hopefully we can get to another one in time. We'll have to see. They decided to throw their energy though. We would have gotten to another one. We're going to go ahead and let it go. That is a perfect amount of health right there for our Obstagoon to come in and farm down with counter, right? It's going to be doing neutral damage because of that Dark Poison typing. So the Obstagoon is going to come in. We don't really need to worry about the charge moves, right? We just lowered the attack 2 stages of the Alolan Muck. So even if this is a Gunk Shot or Sludge Wave, it's not going to do too much damage, as you guys can see. And we're going to be able to completely farm down, and look what we have. We have a Hyper Beam ready to go.
Do it.
No one is prepared for me to run this Hyper Beam because it's not a recommended moveset, but here we go. Boom! We landed the Hyper Beam right there. We swap into the Venusaur and farm down, and let's see what the final Pokemon is going to be. It's going to be a Lapras. So good game to my opponent. That basically is a GG, right? We still have Obstagoon in the back. We have a Venusaur with same shields, and we already have Frenzy Plant ready to go. So that is going to be a good game to my opponent. All right, let's move into the next battle here. So we're going to check out some of the beams here, right, for fun, and then we're going to take a look at the Pokemon, basically, or the teams that I ran into that gave this team a lot of trouble, which is why it's so crucial when it comes to team building that you build them correctly, otherwise you're going to run into issues. So let's go ahead and get into this next battle here. We have Obstagoon on the lead versus Toxicroak. Another fighter. Got to bail right away. Going into that Drifblim right here, going to be resisting all the moves from the Toxicroak. We do see a Snorlax come in, so another situation of Icy Wind lowering the attack of Snorlax, allowing us to come in and farm, right? But the thing is, with Snorlax, right, the only damage they're going to be doing to us is lick damage. So Icy Wind is actually going to start adding up. We don't need to shield as well. Body Slams will be resisted because of our Ghost typing, which is actually really solid for us. We can get to another Icy Wind right here, and we're actually going to be stalling out the clock. So I'm going to make a really interesting play, kind of hard reading what they have in the back. I'm guessing it's a Lapras. So what we're going to do is just keep going for Icy Winds as often as we can. My switch clock is coming back up. Snorlax is getting off another Body Slam. Again, we do not need to shield right here, right? It does no damage. We're going to be going for another Icy Wind right here. My switch clock is back up, and what we're going to do is we're going to swap into the Venusaur, right? Let's go ahead and swap into the Venusaur and see what happens. So we're going to start farming right here. They haven't swapped out yet, which is really interesting, and now they swap into a Lapras. Beautiful right here. So this is going to be a team effort right here to let Obstagoon try to close this game out, because Venusaur right here, we're going to be going for Frenzy Plants, and it lands, which is fantastic. We get to another one in time as well. And this is going to be getting the shield here from the Lapras. Now, I risk it for the biscuit right here and call that, you know, this is going to be a Surf. They're not running Ice Beam right here. But it's an Ice Beam. Ouch. Okay, we definitely just lost a lot of advantage that we had. But it's not over yet. Obstagoon has Hyper Beam. Let's see what we can do. We're going to come in and start farming down. My switch clock is coming back up. That's very important again. Keeping it away from Toxicroak. We're going to swap into the Drifblim right here. And they're staying in a bit too long. We get to an Icy Wind in time. If this gets the shield, I have a chance. Can we get the shield? We do get the shield right there. Snorlax is going to come in, and I'm like, yes, Snorlax, please take me out. Just eliminate my Drifblim. Look at how much health is on that Snorlax. I can counter down right here. So the Snorlax, I'm not even going to fast attack. Not even going to throw a Hex. I need as much energy as I can get. So charge move now coming through. We have to shield right here, right? Could be a superpower. So we do shield. It is a superpower. And we're going to go ahead and commit to the farm down right here. Now, we are very close to a Hyper Beam. They are going to be getting off a charge move right here, and we get to the Hyper Beam in time for a CMP tie. We're going to go ahead and shield right here, and here we go. Here comes the Hyper Beam. Did we get it? Yes, we did. Come on, Obstagoon. An unshielded Toxicroak about to take the full force of the Obstagoon Hyper Beam. Boom! We landed. Good battle to my opponent. Okay. Moving into the next battle. So this is where things start to go downhill, all right? So just having fun today with this team. And like I said, we're going to talk about the reasons why. Okay, so we have Obstagoon on the lead versus Kingdra. I can't help myself. I'm just going to try to go straight for the Hyper Beam, right? It does, what, like 140, 130, 150? I can't remember off the top of my head. It does a lot of damage, and it stabs same type attack bonus with an Obstagoon because of the normal typing. Now, Octazooka comes in, and they get the debuff, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for the Hyper Beam right here. This should be enough to take it out, or we get a shield. Let's see. We just went for a Hyper Beam. It landed, and it wasn't even enough damage because Octazooka lowered our attack so much right there. I feel so bad. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to farm down this Kingdra right here. Let's see what they have in the back. They're going to bring in a Charizard. Not good. We're going to swap into Drifblim, and they have Lapras. All right, that's game over. You guys already know that's game over. So this is kind of how things started to unravel for me, right? Hyper Beam right there did not do as much damage as I thought it would. I was hoping for the one-shot, right? That would have been amazing, but it didn't, and that was just sad. So F's down in the comments for that Hyper Beam right there, but there's really nothing we can do in this matchup, right? We're going to try to go for Icy Wind right here just to lower the attack and hopefully come in and farm with Venusaur, but still that Charizard will be able to do fast move, super effective damage to us, and this Lapras is loading up on energy as well. So we're not going to back out of the battle. I don't like backing out of battles. We're just going to go ahead and just try our best right here. So I believe I do shield on this one. Yeah, I do shield. It is a Skull Bash, so we successfully shield. They're going to swap right away into Charizard. This is actually an Air Slash Charizard, which is really interesting. We're going to go for Frenzy Plant first. We have to shield right here. But honestly, there's no way of coming back. These are two hard counters that are polarized against my own. Frenzy Plant right here, we're going for the shield bait, right? A little bit less energy than Sludge Bomb, hoping to get a shield. And then we're going to go for Sludge Bomb right here, hoping that they think it's a shield bait and we can land it. But still, a Sludge Bomb from this range will not one-shot a Charizard, so there's nothing I can do. We get the second shield, and that is going to be a good game to my opponent right there. They're going to finish me off. Well played, but man, Obstagoon really let me down with that Hyper Beam. I was so excited that it landed, and it didn't do enough damage. That's okay. All right, let's move into the next battle here. All right, so let's see how this battle goes. Now, like I said, we're going to talk more about the team after and why it wasn't the best, right? There's a key Pokemon that can kind of take this team apart, and we're going to see it in a couple battles, I believe. Okay, so we have a positive lead right here, right? Obstagoon versus Gengar. Now we're going to see a Venusaur come in. Beautiful. We're going to go straight into our Drifblim right here. Drifblim does resist the charge moves here from Venusaur, but we are going to shield the first Frenzy Plant right here. It does quite a bit of damage, and what I'm going to look to do is overload on energy and get the shields on the back end from my opponent. Make sure I have enough health to get off hopefully multiple charge moves versus the Gengar in the back. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep loading on energy. We're going to let them throw the Frenzy Plant right here, and then we're going to drastically overload against on this Venusaur right here, right? Going to do a lot of hex damage and just keep loading, and then just throw the Icy Wind right before they get to another Frenzy Plant right there, so that way they can't get another charge move, and we have enough energy to fire off a charge move versus Gengar on the back. And so we are going to see the Gengar come back in. We're going to go for the Icy Wind right here. Should have gone for the Shadow Ball, I think, but Icy Wind will still lower the attack and do a lot of neutral damage, and we get a shield as well, which is fantastic. Can we get to another Icy Wind in time? No, we cannot. We just had it right there. So close one. All right, we're going to go ahead and bring in the Obstagoon. They swap out right away into Machamp. We're going to go ahead and bring in Venusaur. So we had a great polarity right here, right? We have Poison typing, which resists those fighting type moves. They do have access to Rock Slide, which does neutral damage. So we're going to go ahead and shield the first one. It is the Rock Slide. And then we're going to start overloading on energy just in case they decide to let the Frenzy Plant go through. We want to be able to get to a charge move in time against the Gengar. So we're going to go ahead and throw Frenzy Plant. We get a shield, which is fine. Charge move now coming through is going to be the Rock Slide, and we are going to have to play the energy dance right here, right? Rock Slide does neutral damage, and the switch clock is not back up yet, so we're going to overload on energy and then go for Frenzy Plant. So this is going to be taking out the Machamp. We still have Obstagoon, but Venusaur can hopefully get to a Frenzy Plant in time versus this Gengar. They're going to try to commit to the farm down, but they can't. I get to the Frenzy Plant right here, and then we're going to fast swap into that Obstagoon to just do as much damage as we can with counter right there, and that is going to be a good battle. All right, moving into the next battle here. So we have Obstagoon on the lead versus Hariyama. Fighter. Terrible, right? Got to swap out. So we're going to swap right into that Drifblim right here. Start getting ahead on energy. We see a Gengar come in. I make a mistake right here. I should go for Shadow Ball, right? We want to get that shield from my opponent. They decided to throw energy. I know this is going to be Shadow Claw. It's not going to be taking us out, or Shadow Punch, I should say, sorry. And then I try to click on the Shadow Ball, but the Icy Wind actually went through when I preloaded it before. You guys are going to see why. They decide not to shield. They anticipated that I would do that, and I should have just thrown the Shadow Ball, and we don't get to the next Icy Wind in time either. Okay, so what we're going to do is we come back in with the Obstagoon right here, and then just try to farm down. They are going to be throwing a charge move. I'm not going to shield right here. It could be Sludge Bomb. It's not going to be Focus Blast. It is going to be Sludge Bomb, which is fine. The attack was lowered, and we're going to farm down. Now, Hariyama is going to be coming back in, but we got to swap into Venusaur, and then we are going to see them. They're actually not swapping out right away, which is pretty interesting. We're going to go ahead and go for Frenzy Plant right here. This is going to do a lot of neutral damage to the Hariyama, and hopefully we get a shield. I think we did get a shield, and they swap into Escavalier. That, my friends, fellow battlers, is the Pokemon that tears apart the Obstagoon Venusaur core. I cannot do anything to an Escavalier, and I realized that once I started facing it. I can't believe I didn't think of it when I was team building. Because in my mind, right, when we're team building, I'm thinking Obstagoon loses to fighters and fairies very often. So what we're going to do is have the poison typing and the flying typing in the back to help resist that. It looks good, but Escavalier absolutely breaks apart the core of Obstagoon and Venusaur, and we get absolutely destroyed. I try to come back in and swap to get off a Night Slash here for some nice neutral damage against the Escavalier. We do get a shield, but they're going to be able to farm us down. Now, hopefully I have enough energy to get to 2 Frenzy Plants. We're going to be going for another one. I don't think this is going to be able to take it out. It's definitely not. It's going to be double resisted, basically, and it's not good right here. Yeah, they're going to be getting off another charge move. This is going to be taking us out, and that's going to be a good game to my opponent. So yeah, basically, Escavalier breaks this team apart, but I persisted through, and we're going to go ahead and move into the next battle. I was hoping I wasn't going to face too many Escavaliers today. Now we have a positive lead right here against Empoleon. That's pretty nice for us. Let's see what they decide to do. They swap out right away into a Dragonite, so we're going to go straight into Drifblim right here. What's great about Drifblim against Dragonite is Icy Wind pretty much one-shots a Dragonite, right? It's Dragon Flying typing, so it takes double super effective damage. We're going to go ahead and shield the first Dragon Claw right here, and now we're going to be going for Icy Winds. Again, super effective damage, lowering the attack of Dragonite, which is why we shielded that first Dragon Claw. So we do get the shield right there. And then we're going to be going for another Icy Wind. They will get to it before we do, though, but I'm going to go ahead and double shield right here, right? My Obstagoon can absolutely destroy the Empoleon, so I really want that switch advantage. We're going to go ahead and just go for another Icy Wind. Overloaded on energy just a bit in case they decide to let this go through and maintain shield advantage. That way we can get another charge move off. They decide to shield, which is fine. Dragon Claw now coming through. This is not going to be enough to take us out because we were able to get 2 Icy Winds off. It lowered the attack, and that just doesn't do enough damage. We're going to go for another Icy Wind right here, and this is going to be taking out the Dragonite. So we're able to maintain switch advantage, and there's no shields left in play. So let's see what comes back in. It's going to be that Empoleon, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and bring in the Obstagoon again, start loading up on energy, and we're anticipating them potentially swapping right here. We got to be ready to maybe even throw the Hyper Beam or see what comes in. So Hydro Cannon is going to come through, does neutral damage to us. They decide to swap out into a Togekiss, and we swap out right away into the Venusaur right here, which is why I built this team, right? We have that counter to the Flyers, we have that counter to the Fairies, and we have the counters to the Fighters, which is why I built the team the way it is. So Sludge Bomb does super effective damage because that Fairy typing there on the Togekiss, and we're basically going to be able to commit to the farm down. Charge move now coming through. Aerial Ace or Flamethrower won't be enough to take us out, but we're going to be able to commit to the farm down actually with Vine Whip. And then we're going to be able to get off a Frenzy Plant right here versus the Empoleon, which does neutral damage because of the Water Steel typing. And then we're going to look to swap into Obstagoon. No, actually I can't swap. We're actually be able to fast move down right here, and that is going to be a good battle. Okay, moving into the next battle here. Ooh, let's see how this one goes. We have Obstagoon on the lead versus Charizard. Okay, interesting matchup right here. We got to watch out for Blast Burn, but Night Slash does some nice neutral damage right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Night Slash. I should have gone for it faster. When you're in this matchup, you want to go for it faster because you have a chance to boost your attack, and every extra boosted counter really starts to add up. So Charge Move now coming through. I'm going to go ahead and shield. This is likely going to be that Blast Burn, which it is. So great, we were able to successfully shield it. We're going to build up and go for another Night Slash right here. Again, doing great neutral damage to the Charizard. Could potentially get a shield as well. We'll have to see. Yes, it does get the shield. Fantastic. Let's try to get to another Night Slash in time. We do get to it, but they get the CMP tie. So we're going to go ahead and let this go through. If it's Blast Burn, so be it. It is Blast Burn, but we barely survive right there, and we were able to get off the Night Slash. This should take out the Charizard if they decide not to shield. Hopefully, no, barely not enough, and they win with one fast move right there. So very, very, very close. So we're going to come in with Venusaur actually right now because I want to get ahead on energy, and we're going to be able to get it Vine Whip fast move before they get their own fast move. So now Escavalier comes in. I'm like, great. I got to swap to Drifblim. Here comes Lapras. Oh my goodness. So yeah. Not very good, right? That Escavalier absolutely destroys this team, and I felt this a lot in today's sets. Basically, any single time I faced an Escavalier with this team, I lost, which happened a lot. I think I faced it like 8 times. It was pretty nuts. So yeah, the Lapras is going to be able to farm us down pretty much. I'm going to try to get this Icy Wind right here. We don't get the Icy Wind in time. We are lagging a bit. We got to let this go through. I'm going to try to commit to the farm down right here, but there's really not a lot I can do, right? Ice Shards will start to add up. Surf damage will start to add up. Escavalier resists all of our charge moves. So I'm just going to try to commit to the farm down. If this is Ice Beam, so be it. I just got to let it through. And it's Surf, great, fantastic, and they swap out, great call by them. Now we're going to be going for Frenzy Plants, again, resisted damage, but it is the better move in the matchup, it does more damage. So then Frenzy Plant, we're just going to try to chip away as much health as we can, but Escavalier is going to be able to get to a charge move. Again, we don't surrender here, so we're going to go ahead and shield. Drill Run does neutral damage to us, able to successfully shield it, going for another Frenzy Plant right here, but there's nothing I can do. The Lapras is still in the back. This Escavalier is going to be resisting all of our moves, and it still has a shield. So yeah, Escavalier, man, GG's to Escavalier today. All right, we're going to be going for another Frenzy Plant right here. Please shield. Don't flex on me. Okay, they decided to shield. That's fine. They're going to go ahead and go for Drill Run, and that is going to be finishing us off. So good game to my opponent right there. And let's go ahead and move into the next battle. Okay. So here we go. Next battle. Let's see how this one goes. I believe this is going to be the final battle of today. But let's see. Obstagoon on the lead versus Dragonite. Okay, somewhat of a neutral matchup right here. We're going to be going for those Night Slashes, right? Does some nice neutral damage. And again, going for it right away. In case we get that proc, every extra boosted counter damage really starts to add up. They decide to let it go through, which is fine. What's great about Obstagoon is it's a counter user that doesn't have that fighting typing, so you won't be taking super effective damage from flying type moves. So everything is going to be throwing at me is neutral. We're going to go for another Night Slash right here. Hopefully we get a shield right here. I think that would be really, really nice for us if we can get the shield, and we do. Fantastic. I want to come out of here with shield advantage, which would be really, really nice. So Hopefully they don't have Escavalier in the back. I'm praying they don't. And what we're going to do is let the Dragon Claw go through. Now we're going to come in with that Drifblim and start loading up on energy. We can really get ahead on energy, and I know that it can beat us to the Dragon Claw. So we are, I believe I'm going to, no, I actually decide not to shield on this one. I want to save shields, and we're going to try to commit to the farm down, but I decided to go for Icy Wind right away. I wasn't keeping track of how much energy they actually had, so I thought, you know what, let's just throw the Icy Wind. We are able to take out Dragonite. Here comes an Empoleon, so we're going to swap into Venusaur right now, and they're not swapping out right away, but here comes a Gallade, which is actually pretty good. Venusaur can win this matchup in the 2 shield, right, 2 versus 1, because we're able to get to multiple Frenzy Plants, and they let it go through, which is actually beautiful for us. So we're going to be able to commit to the farm down right here. We are going to shield the Leaf Blade. Yes, it is resisted, but I need to be able to have as much health right here as I possibly can versus this Empoleon. We have a Frenzy Plant now ready to go. This should be getting the shield from Empoleon. So hopefully, if it, I can't believe if it would land. They got to be shielding right here. So they do shield. Great. Now, hopefully I can get to another one in time. My switch clock is coming back up. I noticed that in the bottom right. So then we got to switch right away and try to go for a Shadow Ball or an Icy Wind. So we're going to switch right away and go. We're just going for the Icy Wind, right? It's as close as we can. It is going to be double resisted, water, steel typing, but hopefully it does enough chip damage and lowers the attack, and hopefully Hex can finish off, and it can. Good game to my opponent right there. I believe that was the final one. Yeah, that was. Okay, so now let's go ahead and deep dive into some of the battles. Okay, we're going to go ahead and deep dive into one of the battles. This is going to be that first battle that we had against that Heracross lead, and we're going to talk about the decisions that we made. So first thing we got to know right here is our weaknesses, right? What is Obstagoon's weaknesses? Firstly, because of our dark normal typing, we take double super effective damage from fighting type moves. Heracross is a fighting type Pokemon that runs with counter, so we have to get out of there right away. As you guys saw, it does super effective damage. Now we go straight into Drifblim right here, and they bring in an Alolan Muck. So my first thought when I see this matchup is I'm not going to shield my Drifblim at all. I'm going to go ahead and just throw Icy Winds, lower the attack of the Alolan Muck, so that my Obstagoon can come in and farm all of the energy right there, which will give me a huge advantage against the Heracross when it decides to come back in. So as you guys are going to see, we're going to be going for Icy Winds right here. Again, not shielding. Dark Pulse does do super effective damage, but again, just straight Icy Winds. And then what you guys are going to see right here is this is like perfect range. Now, we could potentially shield right here, right, and go for another Icy Wind, but it's not going to do enough damage to take them out. So I'd rather come in with Obstagoon and farm and look to get shield advantage. Maybe the Heracross decides to shield, then we swap into Venusaur, right, with shield advantage. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in the Obstagoon right here and completely farm down. Because we did get off 2 Icy Winds, it's going to be lowering the attack there of the Alolan Muck. So we have no need to shield right here, right? It's not going to do as much damage. And we're going to be able to completely counter down. The Poison Dark typing makes their counters neutral, which allows us to farm even more energy. And as you guys are going to see, by the time we take out the Alolan Muck there, we have a Hyper Beam ready to go. Now, Hyper Beam is not a typical move you will be running on Obstagoon. It's going to be Cross Chop or Gunk Shot. So they have really no reason to shield right here, which is why I have Hyper Beam today, just to have a lot of fun, and it lands, which is beautiful. And then we're going to be able to swap into Venusaur right here, and then we are going to see the Lapras then in the back, and that's going to be a good game. So sometimes running something that people are not going to expect, if everyone is custom to a Pokemon having a certain moveset, and a different moveset allows it to gain huge advantage in some matchups, maybe running that and taking people by surprise can be very, very beneficial for you in battle, which is why I tried Hyper Beam today. Okay, moving into the next battle right here, we have Hariyama on the lead versus Obstagoon. So another counter user, right? I haven't really seen Hariyama, but it does have access to Close Combat and Heavy Slam, and that Heavy Slam is nice against Togekiss or other Charmers. But this is a bad matchup for us. So we're going to swap right away into the Drifblim, and they swap into Gengar. Now, what we got to think about this situation is what typical people will do. I ran it as a typical person. So most people will just throw the Icy Wind and expect their opponent to shield. Where in this case right here, I really need to have shield advantage for myself and my Obstagoon and my Venusaur in the back to take advantage right here. So if I decide to throw Icy Wind, Gengar can survive, right? It can survive that charge move and probably farm us down. If I throw Shadow Ball, it will one-shot Gengar or get a shield. I need to go for that guaranteed one-shot or shield right here. So as you guys can see, I click Icy Wind just as we CMP tie, and right when I saw that they're actually throwing their charge move, I noticed this is Shadow Punch, which is not enough damage to take us out, which is why I decide not to shield. Now, as you guys can see right there, if you can play it back slightly, just after the Shadow Punch, I click on Shadow Ball, right? I changed my mind because I know that I need to get shield advantage right now because I'm going to lose switch advantage because I let the Shadow Punch go through. But because I queued up the Icy Wind right there, it queues up Icy Wind instead because that's the first choice that I made. Now, as you guys are going to see, I don't get a shield and I don't take out Gengar. That was the mistake right there. And then because of our health, they're going to be able to farm us down. Now, I do get to Icy Wind, but that's way too close. We should have just basically committed to going for Shadow Ball. If they threw their charge move right away, that would have been Shadow Punch. We survive, we go for Shadow Ball, we one-shot or get the shield, and then come in with our Obstagoon and basically farm down. So yeah, that is basically sums up a good battle. The second part of this is looking at our core right here. It's an Obstagoon Venusaur core with a Drifblim safe swap. One thing can absolutely destroy this core, and that's an Escavalier, right? Has access to counter, which is a fast move, which can absolutely destroy the Obstagoon, and it's going to be resisting all the moves from Venusaur while also doing super effective damage with Aerial Ace, or it has access to Mega Horn, which does neutral, and Drill Run, which does neutral. So either way you put it, an Escavalier can absolutely destroy this, and they're going to have an Escavalier in the back, right? So what we're going to see is Gengar now come in. I don't need to shield right here. And then we are going to see, let's see right here. We're going to see the Hariyama come in. I'm going to swap now into Venusaur, and they're not swapping out right away, which tells me whatever's in the back might be a Lapras. I'm really praying for it to be a Lapras right now, but they are actually loading up on energy. I go for Frenzy Plant right here, hoping that, you know what, they have a Lapras in the back. Obstagoon can take care of that. They decided to shield, and then they swap into Escavalier. Now look at, Escavalier has shield disadvantage, right? I have 2 shields. But this is Escavalier is going to absolutely destroy Venusaur and Obstagoon, and I'm not even going to be able to take it out. That's how bad this matchup is for us. So as you guys can see, it resists, and then yeah, it's just basically straightforward. I tried to swap into Obstagoon to get off as much chip damage as I could with neutral counters, right? That's Steel Bug typing, get shields as well, and just try to chip away as much health as I can, and then hopefully try to finish off this game with Venusaur, but we don't really have a chance right there. So that is a good battle to my opponent, but that's what happens when you run a core that has a common weakness, and we're going to talk more about that in team building. Alright, heading over to pvpoke.com where you guys can check out rankings, do battle simulations, and team building as well. We have the team that we built today, being that Obstagoon, Venusaur, and Drifblim. Overall, it's not too bad. B's and a C across the board. It has great X's and O's, and this is where sometimes team building right here, like we see, may not tell the whole story, and this is where some more knowledge about the game, more knowledge about what you guys are commonly seeing can enlighten you about what to prepare for. So as we scroll down, we don't see Escavalier here as something that can beat the whole team that we need to worry about, right? I think Charizard is something that we did see today that we can potentially handle as long as we can basically catch it on the lead with Obstagoon or line up Drifblim against it with some energy advantage. But what we need to recognize is that when we're building our cores, and by what a core I mean our lead and our hardest cover, right? Because our team building strategy is you have your lead, you have something in the back to protect it, and you have something in the back that also protects it but is a good safe switch option which can handle the next Pokemon coming in or potentially set you up. And for us today, it was that Drifblim, right? It set us up with that Alolan Muck, right? So that Obstagoon could come in and farm. But Obstagoon being weak to counter and charm, those are the two things I need to worry about. And I focused more on the charm aspect instead of the counter aspect. So with Venusaur, right, with that poison typing, we're going to be resisting all the fighting type moves out there, right? Machamp, Toxicroak, Blaziken, but you are going to be getting hit with fire type moves. But you guys understand those counter moves we resist because of poison. On top of that, it has Sludge Bomb, and it is also going to be doing super effective damage to those fairy type Pokemon, which is why I thought, okay, we'll pair those two together. But they have a common weakness, which is that Escavalier, and we don't see that here. So for your own team building, be sure to think about what you guys are seeing and what these two Pokemon could share in common. If I know that I'm weak to counter, I need to address all the counter users potentially used in the meta, that being Blaziken and Escavalier would really give this team some trouble, especially if Blaziken ran Stone Edge as well. Man, that would give me some trouble. So I just want you guys to understand that every single day I'm not going to be going positive. Some days I have bad sets, but it has to do a lot with the team building that I brought. Today I had a bad couple sets because I brought not an optimized team. So I hope I hope today's video helped you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the hyper beams that I landed early, and I hope this enlightens you about your own team building when it comes to building your cores, making sure you have your good checks and balances. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the team in these videos, and like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.